There was a time, not very long ago, when a single flight of stairs felt like a mountain. At 72, I stood at the bottom of those steps, staring up as if they were built to defeat me. My knees ached. My lungs burned after just a few movements. My confidence was gone long before my strength disappeared. I would look for elevators, hold tightly to railings, and plan my day around avoiding stairs altogether. Something as ordinary as visiting a friend on the second floor became a silent battle I rarely won. I remember one particular afternoon. I had groceries in my hands, and the elevator in my building was out of order. I stood there frustrated, embarrassed, and honestly afraid. Not of the stairs, but of what they represented. Decline, dependence, the slow surrender of independence. That was the moment I realized something powerful. It wasn't just about stairs. It was about the direction my life was heading. I had accepted weakness as normal for my age. I had convinced myself that 72 meant slowing down, sitting more, moving less. But deep inside, I knew that while aging is natural, giving up is optional. So I made a decision that day. I would not try to conquer the staircase in one heroic effort. I would start with one step. The next morning, I walked to the bottom of the stairs without groceries, without pressure, without an audience. I placed one foot on the first step. I held the railing. I stepped up. Then I stepped back down. That was it. One step. It felt small, almost foolish. But it was more than I had done the day before. The following day I did 2 steps. Some days my legs trembled. Some days I doubted myself. Some days I felt silly for celebrating something that used to be effortless. But I kept showing up. Not perfectly, not powerfully, just consistently. I began adding short walks around the block. I paid attention to what I ate. I drank more water. I stretched gently in the mornings. I learned that strength doesn't disappear overnight, and it doesn't return overnight either. It rebuilds quietly, one repeated effort at a time. After a few weeks, something changed. The burning in my lungs softened. My balance improved. My knees complained less. But the biggest change was invisible. My mindset shifted from, I can't, to, maybe I can? And then one day, without drama, without announcement, I climbed the entire flight of stairs. I didn't run. I didn't rush. I paused halfway. But I reached the top. I stood there, breathing heavily, smiling like a child who had just learned to ride a bicycle. Because in that moment, I had reclaimed something greater than physical strength. I had reclaimed belief. Today, I take the stairs every single day, not because I have to, because I choose to. Each step reminds me that age is not a verdict. It is a chapter. And chapters can surprise you. Let me tell you what I learned through this journey. First, decline is often accelerated by avoidance. The more we avoid movement, the more movement avoids us. The body responds to what we repeatedly do or fail to do. When we stop challenging it, even gently, it adapts to stillness. Second, small actions are powerful. We live in a world that celebrates dramatic transformations. But real change, especially later in life, is quiet. It is humble. It is daily. 1 step, 2 steps, 1 walk, 1 stretch. Repeat it again and again. Third, pride can be dangerous. I had to let go of the embarrassment of starting small. There is no shame in rebuilding. There is only strength in beginning again. And finally, independence is earned daily. It is not preserved by wishing. It is preserved by movement, discipline, and courage, even when that courage looks like holding a railing and taking 1 careful step. If you are listening to me and thinking, that's easy for you, let me say this clearly: it was not easy. There were mornings my body resisted. There were evenings I questioned the effort. But I decided that temporary discomfort was better than permanent limitation. The stairs did not change. I did. And if I can change at 72, so can you at 60, at 70, at 80, or beyond. Maybe your stairs are literal. Maybe they are something else. Getting out of a chair without support, walking to the mailbox, carrying your own groceries, playing with your grandchildren without fear of falling. Whatever your staircase is, stand at the bottom of it. Don't stare at the top. Don't calculate the whole journey. Just take the first step. Your body is listening to your choices. Your future independence is shaped by today's effort. I could not climb stairs at 72. Now, I take them every day, not just with my legs but with gratitude, strength, and the quiet confidence that it is never too late to rise. One step at a time. Small steps create big strength. When people think about strength, they often imagine dramatic effort, intense workouts, or sudden transformation. They picture lifting heavy weights, running long distances, or making bold declarations about change. But real strength, especially later in life, rarely arrives in dramatic bursts. It is built quietly, patiently, and deliberately through small steps repeated day after day. What feels insignificant in the moment becomes powerful over time. What seems too easy to matter becomes the foundation of resilience. At 72, I learned that strength does not respond well to pressure and impatience. It responds to consistency. The body, like the mind, adapts to what it experiences regularly. If it experiences stillness, it becomes skilled at staying still. If it experiences gentle movement, it begins to remember how to move. A single step on a staircase may not look like progress to anyone watching, but to muscles that have been inactive, it is a signal. It says, "We are not done yet." That signal, repeated daily, begins to awaken dormant ability. The danger many people face is underestimating small efforts. They believe that if they cannot do everything, they might as well do nothing. This mindset quietly accelerates decline. When we wait until we feel strong enough to start, we often wait forever. Strength does not come before action. It follows action. One careful step, one slow walk to the end of the driveway, one gentle stretch in the morning. These are not trivial acts. They are deposits into a future where independence remains possible. Small steps also protect us from injury and discouragement. Sudden, extreme effort can overwhelm joints, strain muscles, and create setbacks that reinforce fear. Gradual progress allows the body to adapt safely. The heart becomes slightly more efficient. The lungs expand with a little more confidence. Balance improves without us noticing at first. The nervous system relearns coordination. None of these changes happen overnight, but they accumulate. Each modest effort compounds the next. There is also a psychological power in small victories. When you accomplish something manageable, you build evidence. You prove to yourself that movement is still within reach. That proof strengthens belief. Belief influences behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes. It becomes a cycle of improvement rather than decline. One completed step encourages two. Two encourage five. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes routine. Patience plays a central role in this process. Many people abandon progress because they cannot see dramatic results quickly. But the body keeps a quiet record of repetition. It does not reward intensity as much as it rewards consistency. 5 minutes of daily effort will outperform a single hour of enthusiasm, followed by weeks of inactivity. Small steps remove the intimidation factor. They make change accessible. They create a rhythm that can be sustained. Another powerful truth is that small steps restore dignity. When physical ability declines, confidence often declines with it. Starting small allows you to rebuild without humiliation. You are not competing with your younger self. You are cooperating with your present self. You are acknowledging where you are while refusing to stay there. That balance between acceptance and determination creates steady momentum. Strength is not merely physical. It is mental and emotional. Each time you choose movement over avoidance, you strengthen discipline. Each time you honor your commitment to a small daily action, you strengthen self-respect. Over time, these internal shifts become just as significant as improved muscle tone or endurance. You begin to see yourself as capable again. You begin to trust your body instead of fearing it. It is important to understand that progress may feel invisible at first. There may be days when your legs still ache or your breathing still feels heavy. But beneath the surface, adaptation is happening. Cells respond to demand. Muscles repair and grow stronger. Neural pathways refine coordination. What feels like repetition is actually construction. You are building capacity in layers. Small steps also create sustainability. Grand gestures are difficult to maintain. Tiny commitments are manageable even on difficult days. When motivation is low, you can still complete one step. When energy is limited, you can still walk a short distance. This flexibility prevents all or nothing thinking. It keeps momentum alive. Momentum, even slow momentum, is powerful. Over time, those small steps change identity. You stop saying, "I am weak." You begin saying, "I am improving." You stop avoiding challenges. You begin approaching them carefully but confidently. The staircase that once felt like a symbol of limitation becomes a reminder of persistence. Each step carries the memory of the first one you dared to take. Big strength is rarely born from big moments. It is built from ordinary decisions made consistently. It is shaped by patience, reinforced by repetition, and sustained by belief. When you respect the power of small steps, you unlock progress that feels stable rather than fragile. You discover that strength is not about proving something to others. It is about quietly proving something to yourself every single day. Independence is something many people assume will always be there. In youth and middle age, we move freely, make decisions without hesitation, and rarely question our physical ability to carry out daily tasks. But as the years pass, small limitations begin to appear. Movements slow down. Energy fluctuates. Recovery takes longer. What was once effortless now requires thought. It is in this stage of life that discipline becomes more valuable than comfort, because discipline is what protects independence when ease begins to fade. Discipline is not punishment. It is structure. It is the decision to act in alignment with long-term well-being rather than short-term comfort. When I struggled to climb stairs, the problem was not only weak muscles. It was inconsistent habits. I moved only when necessary. I rested more than I challenged myself. I chose convenience over capability. Those choices, repeated daily, quietly reduced my strength. The opposite pattern required discipline. Choosing movement even when it felt inconvenient. Choosing effort even when comfort was available. True independence depends on daily maintenance. The body does not maintain itself automatically with age. Muscles require stimulation. Joints require motion. Balance requires practice. Without consistent engagement, the body adapts to inactivity. Discipline interrupts that decline. It creates predictable actions that reinforce ability. A scheduled walk each morning, a set of simple leg exercises, regular stretching before bed. These habits may seem modest, but they preserve function over time. Discipline also protects mental independence. When physical ability decreases, fear often increases. Fear of falling, fear of pain, fear of embarrassment. Without discipline, fear can dictate behavior, leading to more avoidance and further decline. Discipline counters fear with action. It says, "I will move carefully, but I will move." Each disciplined action builds evidence that the body can still respond. Confidence grows not from wishing but from repeated proof. Many people wait for motivation before they act. The challenge is that motivation is unpredictable. It rises and falls with mood, weather, sleep, and countless other factors. Discipline does not depend on emotion. It depends on commitment. On days when enthusiasm is absent, discipline carries you forward. It ensures that progress does not pause simply because comfort feels appealing. Over time, this steady approach produces results that motivation alone cannot sustain. There is a powerful connection between routine and freedom. At first glance, routine may seem restrictive, but in reality, it creates stability. When healthy actions become automatic, you no longer debate whether to perform them. You simply do them. That consistency reduces decision fatigue and strengthens capability. With capability comes freedom. You can climb stairs without planning your day around elevators. You can carry groceries without anxiety. You can travel, visit friends, and participate in life without constant limitation. Discipline requires honesty. It asks you to evaluate your habits without excuses. It invites you to acknowledge where you have been inconsistent and to correct course gently but firmly. This honesty is not self-criticism. It is self-respect. You are recognizing that your future comfort depends on today's choices. You are choosing to invest in strength rather than surrender to decline. It is important to understand that disciplined effort does not need to be extreme. In fact, extreme efforts are rarely sustainable. The most powerful discipline is simple and repeatable. 10 minutes of strength exercises each day. A commitment to take the stairs once instead of the elevator. Drinking water consistently. Going to bed at a reasonable hour. These actions may seem ordinary, but their repetition creates extraordinary outcomes. Discipline also builds resilience. There will be days when the body feels tired or uncooperative. There will be minor setbacks. Discipline does not demand perfection. It demands return. If you miss a day, you begin again the next. If progress slows, you maintain the habit. This steady return prevents temporary setbacks from becoming permanent regression. It keeps the trajectory moving forward. Independence is deeply tied to dignity. The ability to care for yourself, to move through your environment confidently, to rely less on others for basic tasks. These are not small privileges. They are foundations of self-worth. Discipline safeguards these foundations. It strengthens muscles, yes, but it also strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself as capable and proactive rather than fragile and reactive. Over months and years, disciplined habits compound. Small daily exercises translate into stronger legs. Regular balance practice reduces fall risk. Consistent movement improves circulation and stamina. These improvements extend beyond physical benefits. They influence mood, clarity, and overall vitality. You begin to experience life with greater energy and less hesitation. Independence is not preserved by accident. It is preserved by intention. Discipline transforms intention into action. It turns hope into habit. It converts small daily efforts into lasting strength. When comfort tempts you to stay still, discipline reminds you of the larger goal. When doubt whispers that age has already decided your limits, discipline answers with movement. Through steady, repeated commitment, independence is not only restored but reinforced. What once felt fragile becomes reliable. What once seemed lost becomes accessible again. Discipline does not demand dramatic displays of power. It asks only for consistency. And in that consistency, independence finds its strength and remains within reach for far longer than many expect. For many people, age slowly transforms from a number into a narrative. It becomes a quiet explanation for hesitation, a reason to step back, a justification for lowering expectations. Society reinforces this story by suggesting that certain abilities belong to youth, and that later years are meant primarily for slowing down. Over time, these messages settle into the mind and begin shaping behavior. The danger is not in aging itself, but in accepting the belief that aging automatically means incapacity. Age is not a wall that blocks progress. It is a chapter that invites adaptation, wisdom, and renewed intention. Every chapter of life carries its own challenges and strengths. Youth may bring speed and recovery, but it often lacks patience and perspective. Later years may require more deliberate movement, yet they offer resilience built from decades of experience. The body changes, certainly, but change does not equal defeat. It simply demands a different approach. When we understand age as a phase rather than a final verdict, we begin to explore what remains possible instead of focusing only on what has shifted. Limitations often grow from comparison. We compare ourselves to our younger selves or to others who seem more capable. This comparison can quietly erode confidence. At 72, I could no longer move the way I once did. My stride was shorter. My knees were stiffer. But when I stopped measuring myself against the past and started working with my present reality, progress became achievable again. Age did not erase my ability to improve. It required me to adjust how I improved. There is a powerful distinction between respecting age and surrendering to it. Respecting age means acknowledging the need for proper recovery, safe progression, and attentive care. Surrendering to age means assuming decline is inevitable and irreversible. The first approach encourages intelligent effort. The second encourages inaction. When effort disappears, decline accelerates. When effort remains consistent, the body often responds far better than expected. Age also deepens mental strength. Life experience teaches patience, problem solving, and emotional regulation. These qualities are invaluable when rebuilding physical ability. A younger person may become frustrated quickly when progress feels slow. An older individual, guided by perspective, can understand that gradual progress is still progress. That understanding fosters persistence. Persistence fuels improvement. Another important truth is that the human body retains remarkable adaptability. While recovery may take longer and intensity must be moderated, muscles can strengthen, balance can improve, and endurance can increase well into later decades. Scientific research consistently shows that even individuals who begin exercising in their 70s or 80s can gain measurable strength and mobility. Age influences the rate of change, but it does not eliminate the capacity for change. Viewing age as a chapter also reshapes identity. Instead of saying, "I am too old for this," you begin to ask, "How can I approach this wisely?" That question opens doors. It encourages learning, modification, and creativity. Perhaps you climb stairs more slowly. Perhaps you hold the railing longer. Perhaps you break tasks into smaller segments. These adaptations are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strategy. There is also freedom in releasing unrealistic expectations. The goal is not to move exactly as you did decades ago. The goal is to move as well as you can today, and slightly better tomorrow. This shift in mindset reduces frustration and builds momentum. Each improvement, no matter how modest, becomes meaningful. Each action reinforces the belief that growth remains possible. Age brings awareness of time, and that awareness can become motivation. When you recognize that each year is valuable, you become more intentional about how you live it. You begin prioritizing health not for appearance, but for function. You exercise not to impress, but to remain independent. You stretch not to compete, but to continue participating in life's daily experiences. It is also important to challenge the cultural narrative that associates aging solely with decline. Around the world, there are countless examples of individuals who began new careers, learned new skills, or transformed their health later in life. Their achievements are not miracles. They are reflections of mindset combined with steady effort. They refused to treat age as a limitation and instead saw it as a season for refinement and focus. When you view age as a chapter, you reclaim authorship. You recognize that while you cannot control the passage of time, you can influence how you respond to it. You can choose movement over stagnation. You can choose discipline over comfort. You can choose belief over resignation. These choices accumulate and shape the quality of your later years. Each birthday does not subtract value from your potential. It adds depth to your story. It equips you with lessons that younger versions of yourself did not possess. When you honor those lessons and apply them with intention, you discover that growth does not belong exclusively to youth. It belongs to anyone willing to act. Age is neither an excuse nor an obstacle. It is context. Within that context, strength can still develop, confidence can still expand, and independence can still flourish. The chapter may look different from the ones before it, but it remains unwritten until you decide how to live it.